When you stand at the base of a massive peak, the summit feels a lifetime away. But getting up there doesn't require a single superhuman leap. It simply requires choosing the next stone. Yet we often approach personal change exactly like that impossible leap. We assume that if we can harness a sudden massive surge of energy, we can overhaul our lives in a single moment. Our culture reinforces this idea with overnight success stories and motivational slogans. They suggest that willpower is a boundless well we can tap whenever we feel the need. But psychological research reveals a different reality. Willpower is a finite, easily exhaustible resource. When we try to force dramatic, sweeping changes all at once, we rapidly drain our mental reserves. Staring at a distant, massive goal actually induces cognitive overload. The sheer volume of information and effort required paralyzes the brain's ability to even process where to begin. We routinely label this paralysis as laziness. In clinical terms, though, it is a structural mismatch. The immense scale of the ambition is actively clashing with the brain's readiness to process it. Treating motivation like a light switch you can flip on demand is scientifically inaccurate, and it ultimately results in an exhausting cycle of temporary effort, inevitable burnout, and a quiet sense of shame. The trap we fall into is chronological. We tell ourselves that we need to wait until we feel genuinely motivated before we can finally do the work. The biological reality operates in reverse. Action must happen first. Taking a step is what actually generates motivation as a byproduct. Bandura compares self-efficacy to general self-esteem. On the left, self-esteem is a broad, diffuse cloud, how you value yourself overall. It feels good, but deflects off complex obstacles. On the right, self-efficacy is a highly targeted vector, the specific belief you can execute a task. It pierces through resistance. The most powerful way to build that belief is through mastery experiences. The brain requires undeniable first-hand proof of its own capability. To get that proof, you set a proximal goal. You take a massive ambition and fracture it down into a step so small that the mental threshold to start drops to absolute zero. This flowchart shows exactly what happens neurologically when you achieve that tiny goal. Completing a small action triggers a release of dopamine, which flows directly into a state of future motivation. We often misunderstand dopamine as a simple pleasure chemical. In reality, it is the brain's primary engine for anticipation and forward drive. The neurochemical reward you get from finishing the first tiny step literally funds the energy required to take the second. This internal momentum is amplified by vicarious learning. Watching a peer successfully navigate their proximal goals validates your potential and lowers your perception of risk. We are also driven by social persuasion. Consistent, quiet encouragement from people we trust builds belief far more effectively than loud, forceful demands to simply try harder. The biological reward of motivation is earned through the simple act of starting. As these incremental steps evolve into daily habits, a profound cognitive shift occurs. The mental effort required to maintain the behavior drops dramatically, freeing up energy for the next challenge. A racing heart acts as biological excitement, providing the surge of energy required to power through the work. Navigating this requires strict self-compassion. Missteps will happen, but they are essential data points guiding the brain's adaptation process. Achieving a significant life transformation occurs without the need to become a flawlessly disciplined human being. It always comes back to the mountain path. True progress relies on a steady commitment to the immediate present. Focusing on the step right in front of you reduces the anxiety of the distant peak, providing the most direct path to true psychological empowerment.